Nathan, is there anything in particular you wanted to ask? I realize you're still in a car, but maybe you've watched a video and you had a question about a technique. Happy to perform anything or talk about anything.
Not a specific technique or anything. I just had a few questions about how your testing works and how all that goes. Let me see, I wrote some things down.
Okay.
I read on your website that we can use like a notebook or notes for each move, so to speak.
Yeah, I encourage my students to have a like a three ring binder with I would say have it could either be lined paper or I like blank paper just to write on and write the steps to the moves. So step one, you could have A, B, C in step one, and those are all the things that might happen simultaneously. So like in delayed sword, you're going to step to the neutral, you're going to block with your right hand, and your left hand will be a positional check. So all of that can be step one, A, B, C. And then step two might be the front kick, and step three would be planting with the chop. So write the however you want to write it, write some notes to yourself if it helps. For me, it was instrumental in keeping the techniques memorized, uh, and you can have that available during the test. My hope is that if a student actually were to write such detailed notes, then they wouldn't need them because
Yeah.
they've memorized the technique. So it's kind of like a teacher's trick, right? To say, "Oh, sure, open notes," right? But if you've handwritten those notes, then you don't even need them anymore.
Yeah.
If
Would
it's
it
helpful
be?
at all, one of the nice things is that on the website, the actual belt levels and everything are right there and accessible. And I printed them straight out, so I've got all that available, and I just print it in their notebook.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's helpful too, just to see what's required.
Yeah. Um, would it be okay to do it like on a tablet or something like that, so you can kind of organize them differently? And
Boy, it's totally up to you. I mean, the notes aren't themselves a requirement. It's just highly recommended. I have a 13-year-old son who has done a lot of stuff for school on a school issued tablet, and I feel like his ability to remember things is not as sharp as I would like it to be uh, because it's all on the screen. Now he does have a stylus, and maybe that's what you're thinking. I think there's some a particular value in handwriting as opposed to typing. But uh, of course, I end up typing stuff in the course of my work, so we all have to type. But as a student, I think it's helpful to do the handwritten notes. However you want to do it,
Yeah,
there's no right or wrong.
okay.
I would wholeheartedly agree with you there.
Hmm.
Another question I have, roughly, like how long is the test for black belt? Like how long should it take to do that?
That's a good question. So for black belt, it's cumulative. So what I would do is I would just start at the beginning of the family groupings. I'm not going to test you on a belt by belt level, but I'm going to say, okay, day one of the family groupings, it's delayed sword, it's clutching feathers, it's grasping eagles. Let's move on to day two, and we're going to do right side, left side. So I think in a perfect world, I we would just go through the entire family groupings from top to bottom and everything would be demonstrated. If and in that perfect world, it maybe wouldn't take very long at all. So in a practice for me, any one of these days can maybe be 20 or 30 minutes. If I do a technique a couple times on the right, a couple times on the left, and it feels familiar and sharp, I move on to the next one. A couple times on the right, and there's only three or four moves generally, or maybe four or five moves generally in a day. So a practice for a day maybe only takes 20 or 30 minutes if I'm at a decent clip, and there are 9 days. So 20 times 9 is 180 minutes. So I guess that is a while if we were to do a full practice. But if it's once on the right, once on the left, it could presumably be shorter than that. So I guess we'd be looking at maybe an hour or two. But in the interest of time, what I might do is to hand pick techniques. So you would have need to have everything prepared as if we were going to do it start to finish all the way
Yeah.
through. But I might say, um, to start off, show me delayed sword, right? Just to kind of assess, is the student ready? And if they do delayed sword like $1 million, then I might say, okay, let's jump ahead here to circling fans. Show me that. Okay, that looks sharp. Let's jump ahead here to begging hands, right? So I'm going to pick one or two from each day, and then if I see something that indicates to me like maybe there's some fundamentals that are missing or need a little work, then maybe I'll circle back. But yeah, it really just depends on how much time the student has available for the test. So it can either be sort of a spot check, uh, picking techniques without you knowing which ones they'll be, um, or the whole thing. But I wouldn't want it to be like a 3 or 4 hour test. That would be kind of long.
Okay, and is it best to have somebody there, like a dummy I can use to do the moves on, or do you want them just done open air?
So I suppose the biggest ideal would be like if we could meet in person, right? Because then I can really see what's going on. I could be your practice partner, or maybe the ideal would be you, me, and a third person as a partner, so that I can stay as the observer and not a participant. Um, if that's not possible, if it has to be virtual, which is fine, I've tested other people virtually. Um, then yeah, then the next best idea would be to have a partner. Um, the but I have permitted testing even without a partner. I have a I like to think I have a pretty sharp eye, and so even when a student is doing something in the air, I can appreciate if the student really knows what it is they're doing, like if they have the tactile memory of, like with striking Serpent said, if they've actually grabbed someone by the hair and really anchored that elbow, I can tell that they know what's happening, as opposed to just sort of grabbing and like they're
Yeah,
lifting a lid on a cooking pot. And that tells me, okay, they've never actually done that move on someone. So um, it's I want to make this accessible to people. I don't want people to be like, oh, I can't do it because Geoff is too strict. So but just realize that it is in your benefit to have a partner both for the practices and for the test.
where are you located at?
I'll be your uke.
Awesome. So I am just outside of Philadelphia. Um, I I on occasion I do end up traveling to Texas for my work. I don't. My full time job is not Kenpo, so it could be convenient if I'm happen to be coming your way. We could meet that like that, or if you're ever vacationing, in and around Philly, then we could try to make it work that way. So
Nice.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, After the testing is done and everything's passed and complete, do you issue like a certificate, or how does that work?
Yes, so I do have a certificate that I can send to you. It would be in the past I I would mail a hard copy. I think currently it would be easier for me to do the a digital copy that you could then print and frame on your own. Um, I I've wanted to do something nice for my students and create um, a framed with matting and everything, a certificate signed for them. But it ends up being very expensive. It's like $300 or $400 to get it all done professionally, and it was easier when I had just like one student approaching black belt, and then I could save up for the next one. But I started getting a couple of students who were getting close to black belt, and I'm like, I'm going to go broke here if I'm doing professionally framed things for every student, right? So
Yeah.
I think at this point I would email you a PDF, and if you wanted to do more with it, framing wise, then you could totally do that.
Okay, cool. And my last question is, how do you get like some of your patches that you have?
Those are available on my website, so you can. Let me see here. I guess I'm recording my screen, so whoever's watching this later can see. Um, so I've got under the home study course link in the sidebar. Um, there's the link to the videos that are saved on Google Drive, and then below that is a section that talks about patches. So that's how you would get the patches.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that part, but I'll look into that.
And they are cool patches. I have a set myself. They are cool.
Awesome. I'm glad you think so, Matt. Yeah, they're nice. You can put them on a uniform. In my instructional videos, I wear a uniform, and some of my future Geoff clips have the patch on there. When I practice now, I don't wear a uniform. I used to always wear a uniform when I practice, but I think it's more realistic to wear what you normally wear because that's presumably how you're going to be attacked if you are attacked. So
Yeah.
the patches are cool if you did want to put it on a uniform. You could put it on a hat. You could get just sort of a blank hat, black hat or a red hat, and put it on there. Maybe not red, but white. I think it would look good, or black. Jackets. If you wanted to jazz up a jacket, you could put that on there. So there are two patches. There's the Geoff Johnson Kenpo patch, and then the International Modern American Kenpo Association patch, IMACA. That one looks a bit more like the universal symbol, and honestly, I think that one would be cooler to put on a jacket on the shoulder or something than the Geoff Johnson one. It just thinking about the coolness factor of it all.
Well, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are all the questions I had. I want to keep going through your videos and refamiliarize myself with a lot of them, because I mean, a lot of them after I see them, I'm like, oh man, I forgot that. I remember it. Well, like I'm like, okay, cool. So it's coming back to me doing it. Being in law enforcement, I've used it quite a few times out in the field, and it's saved me more than once. It's real sad. The instructor that I had at the time, I can't find him anywhere. He sold his school to Speakman 5.0, and I've gone in there asking for him, like, hey, have y'all kept in contact? Do you know anything about him? Nobody knows anything. They don't know where he's at. I've looked him up through I don't know how many different public databases. I'm like, man, I don't know if he's hiding from creditors or what, but I would like to go back and thank him for showing me some of the stuff that's gotten me out of some pretty tight situations before. But yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure I got it all down and make sure it's fluid to me once again before I even think about calling you and being like, hey, let's test.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to see you in action. Looking forward to testing you in the not too distant future. Hopefully, in a future office hours, you'll be able to jump around and participate a little bit. And even if you haven't watched a video all the way through, just work on the move together, a move or two together. Then when you do go back and practice on your own with the videos, it'll be that much more familiar. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you in action.
Awesome. Well,
Great.
I appreciate everything you're doing. I mean, this is awesome that you've put this together, and I know it took a lot of time and effort, and not too many people are out there wanting to help the community like this. It's always people are out for themselves, always wanting to try to make money off of other people and stuff. And when I saw yours, I was like, nah, let me. So I kept looking, and you kept stressing like, and I'm not testing, or you're not paying for tests. And I'm like, really? Wow. Okay, cool. So I kept looking and looking more into you, and I was like, all right, legit.
Yeah, in the past, I did charge a very small fee just for access to the videos, with the thought that if I give it away for free, people are going to think it's garbage, right? Because as soon as you say it's free, well, it must not be any good. And but I ultimately decided against it, because even charging a little bit of money, I realized it was difficult. I have students in other parts of the world, and as little as I was charging for them, it was actually more than a little of their income, and so I didn't want to preclude anyone. And it was also, as soon as you start charging money, you have to start accounting, right, for money in, money out, who's got access, who doesn't, who's no longer paying. And even that takes away the fun. For me, it's the Kenpo and it's the engagement that I'm after, not the money. So it was actually a huge sigh of relief. I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not making any money on this, because now I don't have to keep track of it, right? I don't. We can just do what we're doing here.
Yeah.
So, you know, a business person would say, well, how naive, right? But
Yeah.
I make my money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. If
yeah.
you were solely doing it for a business, then yeah, it's different. But to you, it seems like it's your passion, it's your hobby, and you really enjoy what you're doing.
I do. Yeah. So it's a win-win, I suppose.
Because it was all the way back to yellow with delayed sword. Because I know with delayed sword, it was a lapel grab if somebody had come up, grabbed you this way, and it was a step back with an inside block. But silly question, how much of a big deal is it? What would the general effect have been? And I'm running the physics in my head. If someone had come up and grabbed you straight on this way, say they were coming at you and grabbed you with their left hand to your right side, and you still went this way.
That's a great question. Like, yeah, what's the pros and cons, or why?
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Is there any huge deal with doing it this way? Because I can kind of see it in my head. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna block this way. It's a little awkwardish. I can see it coming across this way because if they're blocking or if they're grabbing here, there's definite advantage comes across this way. The outside of their body is swinging this way, so I have definite advantage there because I have to come clear across and try to sweep them here. Yes, I get that. Outside of that,
Yeah. Well, I'm going to swing the camera around here, and give you an answer. So, if given a choice, I would always use my right arm to the inside of their right grab and my left arm to the inside of their left grab, and I'll say why. Um, if I'm not given a choice, and there's a two-man technique where one of your arms is tied up by another opponent, so you don't necessarily have that choice, then you're right. You could pretty much do whatever you have to in that moment. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going to try to tilt this screen here so that I'm not cockeyed. There we go. So if the opponent is reaching out with his right hand and you deliver your right inward block, you have a really good access to his radial nerve, so you're going to cause a fiery pain in his arm. That's one reason to prefer the inward block. And if you don't hit his radial nerve, you may end up smashing on his tendons here and his muscle that he's using to hold on to. So any kind of impact to those is going to loosen his grip and help him let go. The other aspect of it is your front kick to his groin, because you'd be stepping back with your left foot. Your front kick should have better access to his center line. And when he bends over, your outward downward chop hits target very well. Let's consider if you continue to use your right arm, but now it's to the outside of his left. If you block to the outside of his left arm, you may not be striking right on his radial nerve. It may be more on the outside of his arm, and he may be able to take that like a champ. Even if you do strike and it hurts him,
sure.
You're pushing the palm of his hand into your lapel, right? It's not the same as letting go this way, right? When you strike on the inside, he's forced to release. When you strike on the outside, it's kind of like he's got nowhere to go. So you may hit him, but the arm isn't going to disengage from your lapel. And then when you go to do your front kick, you would be open stance with your opponent. So you would be in a right, but he's in a left. And so your front kick his groin may be obscured by his leg. You could do an outward roundhouse kick or what's sometimes called a twist kick to get around his leg, or you could kick higher into the abdomen. So there are workarounds. But and lastly, when he doubles over from the kick, your outward chop, if you stick with that weapon, is going to be directed towards the top of his head, which isn't the most devastating target. If he was facing this way,
Right.
your outward chop is to his neck or his temple or his jaw. But if he turns this way,
Sure.
you really just got a shot to the top of his head, which isn't that devastating.
Okay.
So you would maybe want to change the weapon given the
Sure.
circumstances. So
Okay.
if I'm given a choice, if it's one bad guy and he's grabbing me and I can do either side, I'm going to do the appropriate side of delayed sword. Now, there's a technique later on in the system called grasping eagles. And I've modified this one quite a bit from the Ed Parker version. But even in the Parker version, the idea is that you've got two bad guys. One guy is tying up an arm, right? So maybe I've got a bad guy coming up beside me. He could be grabbing my shoulder and hugging my bicep. He could be doing a side bear hug where this arm is either way, this left arm is out of commission, right? I can't do much with it except maybe back knuckle him in the groin. And the guy in front, he's got one or two hands on my lapel, right? He's got hands on me. So I only have a right arm free. In that case,
Right.
even if it's his left arm, I don't care. I'm going to smash whatever he's grabbing me, but I'm going to back knuckle this guy, smash through his arm,
Okay.
front kick to the groin. If it's available, could be to the abdomen, could be to the ribs, right? So you're going to make do with what you've got. But if it's ideal and I'm given a choice, I'll use delayed sword on the side that it's prescribed for.
Right. And I understand that now because yeah, basically if I'm striking to the outside of this, it's almost invariably digging in that grab. It's not releasing it, it's burying it.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, and then yeah, I totally understand. I mean, it's one thing if I can catch the outside here, yeah, there's some advantage to hammering on that quadricep here, but that's actually not the target that I'm looking for with that kick. So, okay, totally understand. I hadn't walked it all the way through. So, thank you. I
Yep.
appreciate that. Thank
Well,
you.
I appreciate the question because it's something I've thought about, and I don't think I had the chance to articulate it in any of the videos. So this is a good place to have that thought, and we should be thinking this way through all the techniques.
All right. So, what have we not? We've actually gone through yellow, orange, so we're into purple. We did Detour from Doom, which we'll definitely get back to that. It probably wouldn't hurt to go through that again because that's such a good universal one. But was there one that you had wanted to hit today?
Um, well, I mean, I do love Detour from Doom, so happy to look at that one. If we're forging ahead with Purple Belt, another good one would be Striking Serpent's Head.
I just happened to look at it.
That one's got a lot of value to it.
Let's go ahead and go that one.
All right. And Nathan, I see you're in a vehicle, so it may be difficult for you to jump around. I can appreciate that. If there's something that you want us to look at or talk about, feel free to chime in here.
Okay.
So Striking Serpent's Head, I see it. It has its ideal phase, but I kind of like to think of it as a what if to a tackle. So we have intercepting the ram, which is supposed to be our response to an attempted tackle. And here, though, we're saying the opponent's rushing in. We've fended him off, and what we're going to do is a sprawl. I don't have. I guess I could do this against the wall. Yeah, you can see the wall, right? I'm over here.
Yes. You're a little cut off there, but we'll go with it.
All right. There, you can see the room. Yeah, so the opponent is rushing at me, and I want to do this. I want to put my hands on his face, right? You can think about turning his face into hamburger meat, or hands on the shoulders. You're trying to fend him off because he's diving in. He's trying to get arms around your body and wrestle you to the ground. And if we stay here like this, he's going to push our center of gravity back, and we're going to collapse to the ground. So I need to get my feet out and away and resist his attempted tackle or attempted bear hook. Well, what we're going to what we're going to assume in this technique I'm going to do it facing this way.
Sure.
What we're going to assume in this technique is that despite our best efforts, he gets his arms around our body. He starts squeezing us into a bear hug. He hasn't yet taken us down. He hasn't done a lift or a sweep. But despite our best efforts on this sprawl, he's got his arms around our body. So what we'll do is we'll step back into a neutral bow. I've got my left foot forward here. This is my 12 o'clock. Right hand is going on his face. Left hand is going to be an inverted vertical. You can think of it as a back knuckle or an inverted vertical hook punch. And for the technique, we do it once, but you could think about doing this 2 or 3 times. You're pummeling the back of his head, the back of his neck,
Right.
where his neck muscle connects up to his head. So
Right there.
so you're hitting his spinal cord. I think this is called a mastoid muscle, or maybe that's the name of the bone. But we're striking the back of his neck 2 or 3 times. From here, you reach over. If he's got a head full of hair, you can get a handful of hair, and you're going to anchor your elbow down his back as you pry backwards this way. I don't want you to think about pulling out. I don't want you to think about pulling up. I want you to anchor that elbow to his back. And in the air, it kind of looks like you're executing a back knuckle there. And
so that's with the right or the left?
Your left hand, the one that was back knuckling.
So hit him twice and then come up over the top.
Over the top and anchor. So what that'll do, the bad guy's got you here. You're pummeling him in the back of the head, which isn't going to feel good. That should loosen his grip a little bit. And as you grab an anchor, he'll take a knee because you're not standing him up or pulling him back, but you're grabbing a handful of hair, and he's going to do one of these. And that exposes his throat and his nose and his chin. So your final strike here, that you've got him kneeling right in front of you, the namesake of the technique is striking Serpent's head, so it can be this half fist. Sometimes it's called I think a leopard fist or a panther fist.
Right.
It does resemble the head of a snake. So that's the striking Serpent's head into the throat. And I do it without pivoting because he's right here. He's right on my lap, kneeling. So I just give it a little upper body to add power, striking into the throat. Now,
and the presumption here is he has taken more of a linebacker stance where he has come at you low, kind of hitting you here, correct?
Yeah, his shoulder is at about your waist level, and he's
Right.
grabbing around your belt level, trying to. So not a high
Right.
bear hug. If somebody bear hugs you under your arms at your armpit level, they're really not in a
Right.
position to do much. They want to get beneath your center of gravity and
Right.
pull your lower back into their body and kind of flatten you over. Think of like a football player or a high school wrestler or a jiu-jitsu guy. He's trying to flatten you down. And so hitting him and pulling his hair back is going to cancel all that. And that final strike, if you don't like the half fist, sometimes I don't like that because this digit of mine doesn't feel as strong. Like with the wrist,
Right.
with enough practice, you feel like, yeah, I'm not going to hurt my wrist on a punch. But this thing can sometimes feel a little precarious, like maybe I'm going to dislocate or hyperextend my knuckle.
Sure.
So if you want, you can forego the half fist and just make it a good old-fashioned heel palm strike to the nose or the chin or the jaw or the temple, whatever is showing itself. So sometimes I just make it a heel palm. But the throat, if you really do have it exposed, if he's looking way back, the half fist makes total sense because you don't, except for maybe the chin, you don't really have much of a target. And so the half fist to the throat would be devastating.
I'll work on this with my board breaks. And this is the funny part. I'll have to try out. I haven't since I've got it set up outside right now. With some of the arthritis that I have, I don't know how that'll feel yet. I've not had any issues with a palm heel strike or even just a regular fist, other than I broke a knuckle once. But hammer fist is not a problem. Even the sword hand, I've done 2 or 3 of them so far, like with delayed sword, this is not a problem. This is not a problem. I have yet to do anything like this, so I'll find out. So I'm just telling you right up front.
Yeah,
So
I wouldn't hit a heavy bag with this, and I wouldn't try breaking a
right,
board with that. But if you have a like a softer punching bag or something that's a little bit cushier, you could hit with that. The only thing I would ever go for is the throat. If I wouldn't use this
right,
against the body or anywhere else.
right.
Um,
Oh, I've got my gloves. I was gonna throw my MMA gloves on just to make sure I had something so I didn't go killing my hands too badly yet.
yeah,
I'm a wussy. I'm a firefighter, remember? We sit in the easy chairs. Okay, so the threat here to me is not that he's going to maybe get me into a rear naked choke or anything like that. The threat here is he's got me here and trying to maybe get me up and then back.
right. He's
Okay.
presumably he's trying to truck you over, and maybe in his mind he's thinking, I'm going to get the mount and I'm going to do a ground and pound, or
Okay. Good enough.
maybe he's thinking he's going to pick you up and just toss you on the ground, and you hitting the ground on your head is going to be enough to finish the fight. So whatever it is, he's coming in low there, and so we start with
Right.
that sprawl. I want you to think about the sprawl. You got hands on his face, hands on the shoulders. If he continues to come in, you can drop your elbows and clasp your hands around the back of
Right.
his neck. So
Right.
in
Here.
the wrestling MMA world, they call this the clinch. And so
Right.
you're squeezing his head and his neck with your forearms, and this creates a brace. You've got your bone here, your humerus. He's trying desperately to hug you, but his shoulder, his collarbone, is pressed up against your forearm here, and all you have to do is kind of push out like that, and he's
Right.
not going to get past your bone there,
Right.
unless maybe he ducks under your arm, so keep that arm down. And so you got your arms
And then
clasped. From here, we're going to assume that he does. Maybe he parries up and ducks under your arms a little further, and he gets that full bear hug. So he's gotten past all that defensive stuff we just did there. So you sprawl,
right.
you clinch. It's not working. Oh goodness, I find myself in a bear hug. I'm in a left neutral, and
Right.
so hand on his face to kind of sandwich it. You can even turn his face
Right.
into hamburger meat as you strike the back of his head. Yep.
Yep.
And I really have that as an inverted vertical because it helps those two big knuckles protrude. That's your weapon right there. You want it sharp and pokey. Two big knuckles
Right.
into the target there. Now, if he doesn't have much hair or any hair, you can still reach over and grab his face. Your left hand will claw his face, turning it into hamburger meat, and you can still anchor that elbow and rip his face back. And that will get him.
Just, I think about that because two right to the back because I think about that strike right to the occiput back there, and I'm like I cannot imagine anybody if I got him held here and I put too hard right to that occiput. If he's not unconscious by that point in time, I gotta have some respect for the guy.
Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna hit him twice hard as I can right there, that guy's gonna take a beating and he's like, dude, nice job.
Right.
But then especially the second time, once I grab that and pull that head back and it's gonna be right to the throat there. I'm loving this so far. Because that next one right here is gonna be awful. Because that's especially it's going to be whack, whack, rip, pow.
Yeah, I don't think
And
anybody's
that's the one that could kill him.
Yeah.
And in truth, this is the one. This is bad enough because I'm thinking right off the bat here when we're talking about the concept of reasonable force, pulling this back and hitting him here. This is the one I'm going to have to justify in court.
Yeah.
For sure. Guaranteed.
Well, that's a good reason to think about different weapons and different targets, right? The throat, if you hit it gently enough, it's just going to make him cough. If you collapse his trachea, then he may need a little more help. So definitely think about all of that. And the presumption here with all these Kenpo techniques, since we do have law enforcement on the line here, the presumption is that your life is on the line, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
there's no other alternative, right? It's you or him. He may have buddies, right? So you're thinking to yourself, I have to hit this guy hard and stop him because
Oh
there's
yeah.
another guy over here who also wants to hurt me. So yeah, if you can negotiate your way out, that would be the ideal, of course.
Well, and I think if it's coming to this, if it's my life in danger, and this was in I've taken one security class. We've talked about the use of reasonable force. The last carry permit class I had here in Iowa that discussed Chapter 704 of the Iowa Code, concept of reasonable force and assault and those kind of things. It's one of those, even if if I can pull his head back, the strike is to his jaw, which would probably just render him unconscious. But even if I hit his throat, the situation warranted it, and I'm here and I have no choice. I have no choice. That's just the way it works. Sorry. It's my life or his. So I'm not worried about it. It's just I have to remember that that's what's happening. But you and I have talked about it. This is a decision point. I've made it. Once it's done, evaluate what's happening. Okay, is he still moving? Is he still a threat? Once he's stopped being a threat, cover out.
Yeah, you don't want to keep pummeling him if he's no longer.
Exactly. If he's not a threat, evaluate. It would be the same thing if I have fired my weapon. Fire my weapon, cover out, make sure everything's safe, and then go from there. But don't do anything more if I don't have to.
Right. Absolutely.
Cool. Okay.
Now, that's the crux of the technique. I do have 2, maybe 3 more strikes, depending on how you want to count them.
Sure.
Remember, we have kind of our standard issue extension. I got rid of all the actual extensions, but we have our cover out and then re-enter with the back kick. So let's see how that would work with one extra strike in there. So we've got our half fist to the throat, or our heel palm to the chin or the temple. What we'll do here, you could just let go and cover out and cover back in with our back kick, right? From there.
Right.
I did want to include one more powerful upper body strike. You'll chamber the right hand. The left hand is going to claw. You can think of it as like a heel palm claw down his face as you cat stance. Draw that left into cat. Your left hand, after completing that claw, if it's available, I want you to grab his wrist because that's going to protect your groin. At the very least, you want a positional check. You want to guard your groin because you're going to step in with an inward horizontal elbow strike.
With the left or the right?
Stepping with the right, striking with the right. Yeah. So you can think of this as a back to front switch.
Okay.
The left foot is going to step back, and the right foot is going to step in. We're going to put him with an elbow. Yeah. And from there, you can do your single cover and re-enter with the back kick.
I always mess that cover up. So when I hit him with the right foot will come back.
No. The right foot, after you step through, go ahead and step through with that right foot. Then now the right foot will do a right front crossover towards your window back
this way.
That way, 1, 2, and don't do a full cover out, just a single cover.
Okay, here.
And then you're gonna
okay, so here, yeah, and then
here.
See, I apologize for whatever reason that always throws me.
so you're looking like this. You're gonna go
right.
1, 2, and then 1, 2. So that you're out and you're in the way you came.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So step, pow.
Yep.
Okay.
The only recommendation I would give would be to make the twist stance a little crisper, a little more crisp.
Sure.
Particularly when we're coming back in with that back kick, it helps get the hips lined up there. But let's try one more time from the top. Recall how we finished techniques like clutching feathers, right? We did the single cover with the rear crossover back kick. So it's that
Right.
same idea.
Right.
So
Right.
he's
So he's got me.
we got sprawl,
Yep.
sprawl, sprawl, hands on his face, hands on his shoulders. We can try to put him
Yep.
in the clinch here, try to keep him away
Yep.
using our forearms, but he parries our elbows up and he gets us in a bear hug. So now,
Fast.
as he's continuing to drive, we're gonna keep our weight pointed forwards, but we're gonna settle back in our stance. We've got
Yep.
one, maybe two, maybe three of these strikes to the back of his head. Yep. And now don't leave it horizontal, but I do really want like almost like a thumbs down. You know how in
You
Gladiator
want
it was thumbs up or thumbs down. Really make it a thumbs down strike to the back of his head. From there,
silly question, and just maybe just a point of clarification.
Mhm.
Why do you want that driven that far, that rotated that far this way? I'm just curious.
For me, well, so at the end of the day, it's about how best you can contour the target. So
Okay.
if if the way he's situated it warrants a horizontal punch, then do that, right? So I'm
Okay.
not I don't want to tell you to like throw your mind out the window and only do what I tell you, but it's kind of like when we throw vertical punches in Detour from Doom. It's very safe on the wrist. If you can see my wrist is bent this way
Mhm.
when I impact the target, uh, there's less wibble wobble. A lot of times in classical martial arts, we're told to fire a punch this way, horizontal, with a very flat wrist. The problem there is that there's very little margin for error. If my wrist buckles a little bit and I'm putting 100% into that punch, I may end up going the wrong way with my wrist. And I can't tell you how many times I've sprained my wrist as a younger guy learning martial arts for the first time, punching a bag and doing that and think, right, I just, a week or a month of recovery, right? But as soon as I
Right.
went to vertical punches and as soon as I would allow my wrist to be a little bit like this on impact, the flexor forearm muscles are a lot stronger, and if there's any kind of wibble wobble, there's no hurt, there's no sprain because you have more play this way. So all I'm doing is I'm taking all that same logic and I'm applying it this way. You can see
Okay.
I've got uh, my wrist is still bent inward like this. So when I
Right.
hit him, there's no chance of a hyperextension. As soon as I start coming in this way, there's that chance that I hyperextend. The other thing I've noticed
Okay.
when I've punched a bag with a horizontal punch is this kind of alignment matters a lot on a horizontal
Right.
punch. And sometimes the little
It does.
bones in my wrist, they can feel compacted if I had just the wrong angle this way. So I'll do it like this. So just depending on
Right.
how that is, I can think, oh man, I need to see a chiropractor, right? They need to do their little trick and fix my wrist. So, but when I when my wrist is up like this, whether I'm doing a vertical punch or an inverted vertical hook punch or back knuckle, it seems that those bones don't ever feel uh, they don't hurt or they don't feel
Right.
compacted when I hit. So this is all my personal experience. But if push comes to shove and this is what is needed in order to hit the target, then you do you, right? So, but those are my justifications for kind of cranking it over. And the other thing I find, I feel like it does a better job exposing or having the weapon here, which are my two big knuckles, protrude the furthest. When I start doing this, I don't know if you can appreciate it, right? If I'm trying to hit him in the head, I end up hitting more with a finger, or it's not the real intention, which is that knuckle. As soon as I start pivoting like that, you can see my knuckle is the one protruding the furthest. When I start doing this, maybe it's more of a finger like that hitting kind of more flat. So really just trying to get those knuckles exposed. Um, so
Sure.
let's
No, and if it helps you any, you're actually exactly right. I don't know if you've I've had some musculoskeletal anatomy. That's what I went to college for. And yeah, you're exactly right. The carpal bones and everything in here, because they're a sesamoid bone, the squarish kind of funny right rock like bones in here. Yeah, you're exactly right because of the lateral flexion of the wrist that does this. Yeah, it when you jack it funny like that, that's exactly why. So you're exactly right.
all right.
So
Well,
yes, good job.
yes. All right. I should let you give the explanation then.
No, you're exactly right, and it's great to have validation. So so
Great.
yes, this okay. So that makes sense. Okay, I was wondering if that was it, but I also wasn't entirely sure if that was the correct justification that we were both thinking. So thank you, I appreciate it a ton. So as I've got him here, I want to make sure that I'm this way, hammering on that hard.
Yes. And now you can think of the delivery in a couple different ways. I can appreciate here that you're bringing it in kind of like a punch, and mm, it may not have a lot of travel. So what I'm thinking of is really letting it swing wide, almost like a haymaker punch or like a
Right.
back knuckle, and then it's kind of like a reverse curl in the gym. I'm letting that brachioradialis finish the job there, as opposed to having it being more like a push up or a chest press kind of movement. It's sort of like a dumbbell fly with a reverse curl, kind of all in one there, and that big
Okay.
wind up haymaker style really just makes it powerful. Yep, yep. And now that half fist, I know he's close. It may in the air, it may feel appropriate to do like an uppercut kind of strike. But when you actually have him and he's kneeling in front of you, I find that the best angle is to just get that elbow up like this and fire the half fist in that way, as opposed to trying to uppercut it in.
Here.
Yeah.
Here. Okay.
When we if we do an uppercut with the elbow pinned to the rib cage, it's the anterior deltoid that's contributing the most, and that's not a very strong muscle. But if as soon as we get that elbow up, it doesn't have to be like crazy up here, but as soon as we start lifting that elbow a little bit, now we've got the pectoral driving and the a lot more contribution from the tricep, and
Okay.
so it's going to feel a lot stronger to just get that elbow up and pop it like that. Yep. Yeah. So think push up when you do just like
Right.
we would do for the heel palm, right? The same line of travel you would do for the heel palm. It's the same one for the half fist.
Okay.
Now let's do those last two strikes. We're gonna claw his face as we do a back to front switch. So the left hand is clawing down.
Okay. So
Yeah. So we did the face rip and the half fist.
that
Now the left
climb
hand
down.
is gonna claw down his face as we get our left foot out of the way. Left hand can pin, grab, or just check, and it's going to be a big right inward elbow to his face. Now the right foot crosses over.
Yeah. And then cover
Yep,
cover up.
reverse that motion for back.
Okay.
So Nathan, I mentioned this briefly earlier. I did away with all the extensions in my system, and so in the Parker techniques, a popular maneuver was to do a rear crossover buckle with a hammer fist to the groin. So you're undoubtedly familiar with this kind of maneuver in a lot of techniques. And my thought was to just have that same sort of body mechanics, but have it be a rear crossover back kick. I think that would be a lot more powerful. It allows you to engage the opponent at a little bit further distance, and just have that be sort of a universal quote unquote extension at the end of every technique. So that's what I've done here in the striking serpent's head.
A question I did have. like I'm watching some of the videos you've put out and the techniques you're showing and everything. Some of the ways that I was taught are just like slightly different. When it comes time to test for the black belt, um, if I were to do it the way I was taught, would that like be deducted off like points or like so to speak, or do you want it done exactly the way you're showing?
Well, so my preference would be that uh, you would first demonstrate it the way I showed it, and then if you have an alternative way from prior training, you could demonstrate that as well. Um, and I hope that's not disappointing. The reason
No, it's
why
not.
the reason why I would do it is so I've had people come to me in the past, not you, but other people, and they would say, "Hey, I've done all these other things. Can you give me a rank? What's my rank in your system, like right now?" And uh, you know, I feel like it's not appropriate for me to rank other people based on doing things that aren't even really my system, right?
Yeah.
So if you can demonstrate the material as I've shown it, and then say here's like an alternative or a tailoring or an improvement, however you want to frame it, I think that's totally fine. Um,
Okay.
so yeah.
Already.
Um, so let's Matt, do you want to look at the opposite side of this or something else?
Sure, no, let's go ahead and do the opposite. I like making sure I can get both sides done. You know me, my left hand stinks. So
All right. I'm gonna face the other direction here, and we're doing everything lefties now. So he's coming at us. We've got our sprawl. This part is kind of symmetric here. We got hands on his face, hands on his shoulders. We can even put him in the clinch here. We're trying to keep him away from us, uh, trying to prevent the bear hug and the takedown. But despite our best efforts, he's putting us in a bear hug. Now, what what has me choose between right and left on this technique is whether he's like leading with the right shoulder or he's leading with the left shoulder in terms of that bear hug. Because his head, he kind of has to pick a side, right, when he does that bear hug.
right,
So he's choosing for you what side of the
right.
technique you're going to do. Kind of like in delayed sword. If the bad guy grabs me with his left, he's chosen for me that I'm doing delayed sword on my left. So,
So
um,
if he comes onto my right side, then that means I go this way.
correct.
If he comes to my left side, that means I go this way.
Yes. So let's visualize his head is by our left hip or our left rib cage. So left hand is going on his face. If we're not already in a neutral bow, we can step back, and the right hand is going to be executing that. You can think of it as an inverted vertical hook punch or a haymaker or back knuckle. Two or three of those to really convince him to stop what he's doing. If he needs more, we're going to reach over and grab a handful of hair or his face. Remember to anchor this elbow down to his spine because the goal is to cause him to kneel right here in front of you. Now, if you rip hard and fast enough, he may not just kneel, he may sit on the floor and just totally disengage. And you won't even have a head
Right.
strike, which is great. You can make it a front kick, you could just cover out from there. But let's say that we anchor and he kneels right here in front of us. We've got our left half fist. Remember, lift that elbow and strike, or it can be a heel palm, striking. Then let's do that much again from the top because that's really the primary part of the move. So from the tippy top, we've got our sprawl, we've got our clinch. None of this is working. He's bear hugging us, so we're stepping back. A couple of strikes here to the back of the neck. Right hand grabs his hair or his face. We're going to rip as we anchor. We've got a left-handed strike. It could be a heel palm, could be a half fist, could be one of each. Now, from here, the right hand is going to let go of his hair, and we're going to claw down his face. You can think of it as a heel palm to the bridge of his nose, and your fingers are ripping through his face. So a tiger claw kind of motion as you're going to claw as you draw your foot back into a cat stance. So the right foot is drawn back. Now the right hand can reach out and grab his wrist. you're only grabbing his wrist to protect your groin. Because recall, he's
Right.
kneeling. He's kneeling in front of you. He's groin level. So if he regains his wherewithal, he may just start punching your groin. And you don't want that.
Right.
So after you claw his face, you're grabbing his wrist just to keep that punch out of your way. And now we're going to step in with a big old elbow.
Right.
Yep. Now from here, you can do a left front crossover towards, it could be towards 6 o'clock, it could be towards 4:30, whatever angle is best. And then you're going to reverse that motion with your back kick. Yep. So
Knees a little boogery, no problem. So from here.
yep. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's it. Yep. And then a full double cover out from there.
And see, and that's where I always screw up when I hit this, and it's not a snap kick, correct? It's a
I like to think of it as a
kick.
thrusting back kick, and you can
Right.
do whatever you need in that moment. If you need to kick and plant towards him, that's totally fine.
Because then from here, how is that cover out supposed to be? Because I never get that cover out correctly because I don't have it for whatever reason in my head how the cover out should be done correctly. It's because I know I'm protecting myself and I know I should be looking that way and I should be looking that way, basically behind me too. But I never get that cover out right.
Why don't you relax and look at the camera, and I'm going to try to do it from your perspective. So we're facing the same way here. We've got a bad guy. You can up the circle a little bit to do your cover out towards 6 and your back kick this way. You see what I did there? Or if you want to go off angle, I could go towards 4:30, but it would be this way: step, step. I'm going to reverse it for the back kick, and then I'm just going to do it again with the full cover.
Okay.
So let's try it here on the diagonal. I think it'll be easy to appreciate it here with the camera angle. So I'm going to front cross over this way toward my 4:30. I'm going to step out, and then I'm just going to reverse the motion. I'm going to rear crossover. I'm going to back kick, and then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to front crossover and step through, and then I'm going to step back one more time. And that final step is what allows me to clear the other half with my vision.
For some reason, I keep thinking there's one more step after that, and I don't know why.
Well, let's do it one more time here together. So let's skip the back kick. We'll just do our cover out. So
sure.
The double cover out has 3 steps. It's 1, 2, 3.
Great.
So just count 1, 2, 3, and you've got your steps.
I wish I knew why, because
that's it.
Yeah, I have no idea why I keep thinking there's a 4th step. I don't.
That's all right.
Because if I'm the other, because it's.
Yep, that's it. Now I know you got this because we had it really sharp in past office hours. So but it's okay, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Because I finally got the and I don't recall what we called it. It's that short. What is it? A couple of them, like I think it was like thrusting salute, or it's a short reset, and then we have that the back kick. Because it's just a short kick or a short reset, a kick, and then it's a cover out. And it's actually a very short front end of the cover out, but it gets the job done.
Right. Yeah, don't I can see here maybe it's because the back kick and the cover out overlap a little bit, and maybe they're getting conflated. In thrusting salute,
Maybe.
you're right. We had front kick, we had a heel pump,
Right.
and then we went right into our back kick.
Right.
And then from there, it was 1, 2, 3 cover out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I can appreciate there. It's a little.
And you're right. I believe you're correct. I conflate it just a little bit, and I can't do that. I have to remember to set. There's a reason for the one, because you have to. There's a short little bit of a positional reset to get that back kick correct, because my target's shifted slightly, so I have to get that correct. But I don't need to go all the way over to get it done.
Yes.
And that's all that I had to do.
Yeah.
I believe it's thrusting salute.
Yeah, stepping across the center line. I want to back kick my
Yes.
here, but I have to get my butt facing it, so I'm gonna just step over. Now I've got my back
Right.
ready for my kick. So yeah, I call
Yeah.
it an adjustment step. But
Yes.
that's not part of the cover out. You're absolutely right.
And I have to remember that, and I just have to remember that. So that's my own fault. I will get it. I will get it. I promise I will get it.
All right. Let's do the left side one more time here on striking Serpent's head.
Okay. And this is, amazingly enough, this is really a straightforward. I like this one. There are some fairly obvious decision points here.
Yeah, I really like this one. There were some other Parker moves for front bear hugs. Tripping arrow is the other one that comes to mind. And this one is just so instinctive. So that's why I kept this one. So he's got us. We are sprawling. We're putting him in the clinch. None of this is working. He's putting us in the bear hug. So we're going to step back. And as we do with marriage to gravity, we've got our strike to the back of the head. 2 or 3 of them if we need to. Right hand striking, reaches over and grabs a handful of hair. Anchor your elbow, cause him to kneel right here in front of you. Yes, and you're ready for a half fist or a heel palm, whatever we need. From there, the right hand is going to rip down his face as you cat away from him. Now, after clawing, grab his left wrist. Keep that out of your groin as you step in with an elbow. Now the left foot is going to do a front crossover towards 4:30 or even 6 o'clock, whatever you prefer there. So left front crossover.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2. Now we've got the back kick. There it is. And now the full cover out. 1, 2, 3. That's it.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I've got to rock and roll here. I can hear the family getting ready for dinner. A pleasure meeting you, Nathan. Matt,
Likewise.
it's great seeing you as always. And look forward to seeing you guys in a couple of weeks. We generally do this once every 2 weeks, Nathan. So stay tuned.
Okay, awesome. Nice meeting you, Matt.
Nice meeting you too, Nate. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.